glad you all are here. We got 138 people so far, guys. So welcome to everybody that is here. We really appreciate you being here and taking the time. I am going to share my screen now because today's all about finding and reaching program managers. We're going to talk about that a lot today. Participation in this is easy. If you want to participate, you can chat things to us. Tell us where you're coming from. This is where we're going to be sharing the links in the docs. If you would like to ask questions, you can get ready to ask questions, but you raise your hand or use the Q&A to ask the questions. So we already have Ronald Sutton raise his hand. So let's see. I'm going to tell you how good this works, Ronald Sutton. What do you want to talk about, Ronald Sutton? Or is that a mistake? I can ask you to unmute. You there, Ronald?
That was an accident, guy.
No, that was an accident. But tell you what, do I pay attention? I pay attention, Ronald, right?
Yeah.
Hi, thanks. Welcome. I got you muted again. If you've been under a rock in the past 2 years and you don't know how Zoom works, you can go up there and do the side-by-side and make us bigger or smaller, whatever you'd like. In the chat, Zachary will be posting right at this moment links in the chat for the winnable opportunity matrix, the ISI federal capabilities, and VA procurement readiness, which we're going to change next month, right, Rafael Marrero?
Absolutely.
We're changing that because Rafael has written another one, which is more better than the VAs, as well as the 90-second challenge. I am Dave Lowe. I'm the CEO of ISI Federal. We handle data marketing and business development support, and I will be on the hot seat today talking about things that we do. I'm going to tell you some stories about it. We started back in 2009, and since then we've been helping companies book over $500 million. I can only do half. How do you do $500 million? I can't do $500 million the way that we do it, but we have federal market intelligence that we use, which includes 1.2 million federal contacts. We're going to be talking about how to leverage those contacts and the vendor contacts, as well as program managers and active buyers. So we will be talking about a lot of that. Market Essentials is the way we get smart about the marketplace. This is how we reach stakeholders. Gov Brief, and I'll give you an overview of that today. Before I even get into that, I want to tell you, if you want to reach people, we're going to be talking about reaching people March 22nd, 2 briefings. And Zachary, if you want to post the save $100 thing, if you haven't seen it, if you sign up for both, you save $100. And we're going to be talking about doing business with a VA and doing business with FEMA, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. And we will be recording that. So if you can't make both sessions, you can certainly have those as well. The other thing we're going to be talking about today is monitoring on sam.gov using sam.bid and the AMP system. It's an advanced monitoring platform. It is live, and you can get it at www.sam.bid. I'm not going to talk too much about that now. The other thing that we do is monitor GSA eBuy. If you have a GSA contract, you should be on GSA eBuy and monitoring that. And Quick Fuse, you can do that, QUIKFUSE.com. You can test drive it for 30 days. And if you keep it for a year and you don't sell 5 times what you invested in Quick Fuse, we'll give you all your money back. I'll tell you this, we've never done that, not once, because we can help folks do it. We also have the doctor, the good doctor, Rafael Marrero. I'm changing my glasses as we speak because he's wearing his sexy blue glasses today. Rafael will be talking about what do you do, Rafael?
We focus on 3 fundamental things for aspiring or new government contractors. Number 1, we help them register properly and show up strong in their SAM profile, which is, think of it as an X-ray. We also focus on socioeconomic certifications or federal certifications for small businesses, such as the 8A Hub Zone, service disabled, and we also do the DOT DBE certification because it is a federal program administered at the state level.
That's also work one, right, Rafa?
That's fundamental because of the infrastructure needs right now. And most importantly, we work on how to create an impressive and effective brand as a federal contractor. That includes all of your comms pieces, such as your capability statement, your capabilities briefing, how your website should look, your business cards, the cover sheets on the RFIs that you send in, everything to create a positive first impression, a strong impression on the first look from contracting officers and others.
Love it, man. And you're going to be talking about that a little bit on the importance of looking good when you start. You don't
Yeah,
just
looking the
look
part
good.
is very important.
That's very important. You gotta look the part. All right, I'll change my glasses back over now for Gregg Clarke. Gregg, tell us a little bit about DKA and how you got in there.
We have been, three of us formed the company in 1995. There's six of us now, and we formed to help companies identify and evaluate RFPs, and when they're a good fit for your experience and capabilities, we'll help you prepare your proposal to increase your chance of winning that contract. In doing that, we've helped our clients win 396 government contracts with a combined value that has surpassed 2 billion.
2 billion. 2 billion. I'm trying to get there, man. Trying to get to my one.
And we've also we also started about 15 years ago, started helping companies get on the GSA schedule. Now we're about 400, a little over 430 companies who've helped get on the GSA schedule. So those are two primary areas, and everything else we do is in support of those and other contract vehicles. And if your marketing with Dave pays off and you get an agency that's interested in you, then you can come back to us and we can put your unsolicited proposal together for that situation.
Hey, now we talked about that last month.
Last week.
That's even closer than last month. All right. Fantastic. Thanks, Gregg. Appreciate that. Sally is on a plane, or she's getting on a plane right now. So Peter Timbas is going to pinch hit and tell us about Sally White. This ought to be good. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. Well, Sally is absolutely fantastic. If you want to bring energy to your company, hire Sally. I've been working for Sally for the last year, and she's made tremendous results for TFN. She's fantastic. So if you want to brand your company, digital marketing, and she's an expert with LinkedIn. She is absolutely fantastic. And when I say she brings energy, she'll bring energy at 12 at night, 4 in the morning, 9 in the morning.
She's all over the place.
She's fantastic. So
She
if you're
is.
really looking to increase your marketing footprint, give Sally a shout.
Yeah, there you go. And that sets you up. That was a great testimonial there for Sally. Peter Timbas is in the business of helping folks get finance their contracts, right? So tell us a little bit about that, Peter.
Well, we've been doing it for 30 years, whether you're a brand new government contractor or you're a seasoned government contractor, we're going to provide the financing to perform on your contracts. So we're going to look at the contract as far as the level of funding we're going to give you. We do get your financial statements, but just to get a snapshot of the company. So whether you're brand new in the business or you're seasoned, we're going to give you that money to grow your company. And we've been 30 years as a trusted advisor in this federal government arena.
And that's what I love. I love the reason why we're all here together is because we have different components that we provide for federal contractors. One of those being able to fund contracts. If you're an 8A, there's $1 million 8A, and you win a $10 million contract, you're going to need some financing.
Absolutely.
So Peter can help with that. Brian Hebel is not going to be with us today. He's a former contracting officer with CMS. We did doing business with HHS with a deep dive in CMS a couple of weeks ago. It was really good. He is awesome. And so he's also the president of acquisitionhelp.com if you want to reach out to him. A little bit about this session so we can set this up, because we got a lot to talk about today, and I want to make sure we get there. First of all, it's always free. We have over, I think it's 3,400 now. That was last month's numbers. It's every second Tuesday. So if you signed up, you're going to get the next one. You can come as long as you want, or if you don't like it, then just remember what you paid. We get dialogue with sales experts like Peter, like Rafael and Gregg and Sally and Brian. And we get real about how things work. We're going to be getting real today with no silver bullets. And if anybody's telling you they have a silver bullet to be able to win in the federal space, they are lying to you. Am I right, Rafael Marrero?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. They are lying to you. We will be talking about marketing tools that we've generated here, and I'm going to tell you how we got to do that and why we do that, and we'll show off a little bit, and hopefully it's worth your while. If you missed any of the sessions, you can go to YouTube. And Zachary, if you want to pop the YouTube GovBrief, so they can just go to the YouTube GovBrief channel. they can get that, because I will be referring to the one we did last month, because we're kind of building on some things. So I want to make sure folks get what they need. But if you're here after RFIs, RFQs, RFPs, reaching federal stakeholders, or touching anybody or reaching anybody that touches the government universe, you are in the right place. And we will be talking about program managers and project managers. A real quick disclaimer: if we do have anybody from the government here, this allows you to be able to talk with us as vendors and outsiders, because this, you're not going to believe this, Rafael, but this briefing is not associated with GSA or any other federal agency. And if
No way.
people, and we know this because, well, we'll just say that we're a little bit more nimble, and we'll just leave that alone. Anyhow, it's if anybody from the government would like to participate, it is not a commitment to purchase from any vendor that's here. So there you go. You guys can participate. So
Hey, Dave.
why in the world did you decide to come here today? Because are you new to federal contracting? You have federal contracts as a sub and you want to grow. Do you have federal prime contracts and want to grow? Or some crazy nutcase sent you an email? I will not take that personally, Peter Timbas, when you picked that one, because I know that's the one you picked. So,
Hey, Dave.
yes, sir.
Jonathan's trying to get on, but he's not allowed.
He's not allowed.
His video. Yeah.
Oh,
Trying
hold
to
on.
jump on.
Hold on a second. One moment. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. And now Jonathan is a co-host and he can share his video. All right. So I got to tell you guys, I woke up this morning and I was actually in a real Zen state. I did my Bible reading for the day, and I was sitting there just pondering today and thinking about just how things happen. And I'm this is going to be different than anything we've ever done. So if everybody here like loses their mind, just know that this is just a one-time off. I'm going to end this poll in 3, 2, 1. You can do it. You can selecting the polls is painless. All right. 2, 1, 0. Oh, somebody else ended it. All right. So I appreciate you guys joining me for that. So the reason why this happened is I was just looking at how we develop beliefs, right? And the impact of beliefs of how we operate on a daily basis, whether it's personal life or business life. So I realized, and I wrote this down, I was like, all of life is a matter of perspective. And that perspective is the sum of where we are in the moment, right this minute, right this moment, and our experiences. So our experiences dictate for us how we develop our beliefs. And those then become the lenses that we look through as we look at the world. Okay, so there's a lot of folks. Can we share out that? Can somebody share out that that poll result? I want to look at this real quick. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to share the results. So half the people here are new to federal contracting. So, and then the other half are into it in some form or fashion. So I want to talk to the whole group, but I want to talk to the folks that are new a little bit more. So we'll, I'm going to share that out so you can see it. I thought I was sharing it. All right. So there it is. We'll stop sharing that now. But when you talk about perspective and the importance of where we are. So if you're new to the federal market, this is a new experience, and it is going to be a new perspective for you. And there's a couple of things that I want to talk about because of how I got started. So when I got started back in 2007, I had a client come to me and they said, hey, we want to market to the federal government. There's a $68 billion contract. Money's going to fall from the sky. We want some of that. And I'm like, first of all, no, it's not. Am I right, Gregg, Clarke? The money's just not going to fall from the sky.
It's not going to fall from the sky.
Not going to fall from the sky.
You got to jump up and get it.
Yeah, you got to jump up and get it. And so I said, first of all, I didn't have any experience in the federal space in 2007 at all. I'd met a couple of people. I mean, we all meet people that do business with the government. I'd met some people from the GSA back in 2000. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't know how to do this. You find somebody who knows what they're doing, right? Find somebody like Rafael found Jonathan Serrano, right? That's your guy, right, Rafael?
That's right. That's our business development manager, Jonathan Serrano.
And he knows about this business because he came and you know about this business. Find somebody like these people. And what happened was, if you don't want to do something and you want to keep a client, right? They're one of my clients at a consulting firm. And if you want to keep the client, you just give them a price that there's no way they're going to do it. Right. So they said, so they kept after me for 3 months. They said, we want you to do it. We want you to do it. I said, okay. And they said, what's it going to take? And I said, $12,000 a month. Let that sink in for a minute. Somebody's telling you they don't know what they're doing. They have no experience in it. And they give you $12,000 a month. And then they say, go. And I'm like, you're crazy. You're out of your mind, but I'm going to take your money. And so, and I did it. And then it's kind of like the Hotel California, Rafael. I can't get out. So, but it's a new perspective on it. And this is what I learned. And if anybody wants to challenge me on this, go right ahead. The federal game is different than the commercial game. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Everybody agrees with that. So here's the deal. If this is true for everybody that's here, that's new, that this is new to the market, you cannot play this game the same way that you play business to business or business to consumer. Does everybody else agree with that too?
Yes.
So the structure is different. So when I got into this world, I was like, okay, first of all, what is the game? How can I play and how do I win? Because that's what we all want, right? We all want to win. We all want to be winners and not just participation winners. You want to win, right? So if this is the case, here's what I learned as well. This game is not played the way that I wanted to play the game coming from commercial. It's played the way that the Govies, want it to be, the way they play it and the way they want it. So everybody here wants to get in the game. That's why we're here. Everybody wants to be in the game. Some of you are in the game. Half the people are brand new, Rafael Marrero. Half of the people here are brand new. And one of the things that we talked about earlier is looking like you belong in the game. Am I right, Rafael?
Absolutely.
And you built an entire company around just that. Isn't that what you do?
That's exactly right. The former head of vendor management, procurement, and supply chain for a Fortune 500 company.
Fortune 500 company that may or may not have manufactured devices that like this one.
That's right. So I was chartered with the vendor management, with direct and indirect procurement, and we selected vendors just like you that came to us and sat on the other side of the table, and we had to evaluate their marketing materials, how they pitched us, how they approached us. And I spotted the newbies right away. I could smell a newbie a mile away, right? I knew that their capability statements were fluffed up or incorrect, or that they had the wrong PSC codes, or that they wanted to be master of all trades and had a gazillion NAICS codes on there that had nothing to do with their primary activity. So I decided to build a practice around this. And not only that, I literally wrote the book.
Wrote the book.
Contracting for the Hispanic community right here. La Salsa Secreta, which became a bestseller on Amazon for 3 years. And so what we do is we help you get your ducks in a row. We help you get ready for the federal supply chain. We help you structure your marketing materials, structure your pre-qualification form or your vendor registration form, which is known as SAM, where all of your essential elements of information should be listed. And we also help you position yourself intelligently for small business set-aside opportunities that are granted to certified and bona fide small businesses that have 8A certification, HubZone, veteran-owned, and also for DOT DBE opportunities. So that's what we do. We help brand you, we help train you, we'll register you, we'll certify you, we'll leave you branded, and we won't leave you stranded, like Jonathan.
Oh, I love it. Leave you branded, but won't leave you stranded. Did you just make that up?
Well, that's Jonathan's line right there.
Jonathan, I knew that was something.
Long and hard about that one.
That's right. Well, here's one of the things that you can give some real quick advice on the importance of what a capability statement should look like.
Sure.
for everybody
So
here.
first and foremost, Dave, it should be an 8.5 by 11 document. I've seen everything from legal size to tabloid size to multi-page, like 20-page capabilities statements. Not what you need. You need a 2-pager, 1 page preferred, with the back page being your success sheet or your past performance coded to and mapped to the specific project. So there are 6 essential elements of information that you should capture in this contractor resume. Mark my words, because I've designed hundreds of them every single year, and we work with thousands of small businesses across the nation. It should be a letter-sized document. It should be double-sided. It should capture your capabilities narrative, which should mirror the information that you have in your dynamic small business search narrative, right? So 235 characters, no more, no less, including punctuation. And then you should have your codes, which include your NAICS codes, your North American Industrial Classification System code, both your primary NAICS code according to the first page of your tax returns, right? That 6-digit code that's on the upper left-hand quadrant, and up to 10, I would say 10 secondary commonly served NAICS codes.
So
You can do
why
as many as
10?
20.
Why 10, Rafa?
It's a good neighborhood because here's how I look at it as a procurement officer. I look at it as, okay, I want to map how many secondary activities are directly tied to your offerings, right? So if you're doing unmanned air systems, right, UASs, right, and you're in the 5.4 professional services prefix, there's no way you're going to be doing real estate, right, or baking products, right? So if I see those listed on there, it means that you're probably working with someone who is not part of your firm and you're trying to promote their services, or that you really don't understand my business model as your client, as your potential client, right? So it's important to have a finite number of very defined NAICS codes, Dave, because here's the thing. A NAICS code can have a subset of PSC codes,
Yep.
and that's the next category of codes, product supply codes, which is really what federal buyers use to find you. So your primary NAICS code is the number one, but under that PSC code, under that NAICS code, you can have a subset of PSC codes that are relevant to that NAICS code that define the core products and services that you provide.
And I think, real quick, just to piggyback on that, one of the biggest issues that is that everybody wants to be everything, and when it looks like somebody is everything, they're not good at anything, or that's at least the impression, right?
That's exactly right. Remember, this is all about supply chain vendor risk management. And as someone evaluating you as a potential provider of goods and services, I'm going to be hesitant. I'm going to be leery because I don't know you. Therefore, I don't like you and I don't trust you. I don't know who you are. You may look good on paper, or your website may be fantastic, but you're an unknown entity, and that means risk to the government. Taxpayer dollars are at risk. So you have to prove yourself. And that's where having the right materials comes in. A list of your customers or contracting vehicles, right? That's next. Yep. How can they write this up that they want to do business with you? And then what are your core competencies? I'm going to emphasize this again. Core competencies, right? What can you do best? What can you do better? What's your unfair advantage? Last but not least, Dave, and you're going to be amazed at how many people leave this out, is your contact information. You would be amazed at how many capability statements don't have their contact information on there, okay? And they also label the document using a different nomenclature. It should be your company name .capability statement.pdf. And here's one very good tasty tip that you should always have in your hip pocket. Your final document should be transmitted in PDF format and should not exceed 1 megabyte. One megabyte. Good. Okay.
And guess what Rafael is going to be talking about next month? He's going to go into details on how the capability statements are formed, exactly the things you just talked about. That was a great primer, Doctor.
My pleasure.
Yeah, man. And so we're going to ask Rafael, please help me pimp my Sam. You did Sam pimping apparently, right?
That's right. That's right.
A rocking capability statement. You want to talk about socioeconomic certifications or something else? You can pick as many as you want there. And then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of today. And the session handout that you want there, Zachary, if you can make sure that they get the session handout for the winnable opportunity matrix, they can get their hands on that.
Because Dave, while you're getting your results to the poll, our mutual friend Richard Rich from R&R Lotions and Pesticides says we use GSA eBuy. Can you do the same search for DoD? And I don't know what he was referring back to.
There's a DoD search. Well, because there's a different system that DoD uses than eBuy, but it mirrors the same functionality. I don't have we don't log into the DoD system though.
Okay.
So we don't, QuickFuse doesn't do that. It's only GSA eBuy.
And Mark Allen wants to know if he's going to get the slides and all of the panelists' contact information.
I guarantee you the panelists information now that you said that, because that should be pasted in the chat right now. So we'll do that. All right. So got another 3, 2, 1. If you want to talk to Rafael, you got 1 second left. Ready? Boom. You're done. All right. 42 people want to talk to you, Rafael. So, Jonathan, you're going to be a busy boy. That's all I know. That's awesome. So, getting back to
pasting his information too on the chat so people can, okay?
Already out there, guys. Yep.
So, so the winnable opportunity matrix is also in there that you can download this, but we're going to go through a couple of pieces of the winnable opportunity matrix. The objective every single time is to build relationships, because guess what, Rafael? This is shocking. People buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Go figure.
All right. So when it comes to how this winnable opportunity matrix works, we have different roles. They have different reasons for making their decisions. Our objective is to move us into the green with each one of these people. And I'm going to quickly go through these. As we're working through this as a process. Last month we did contracting officers. This month we're talking about program managers, right? That's the CO, the PM. Then you have the technical representative, also known as the COTAR or the core, depending on the agency, as well as your administrators getting up there in the upper echelons of the agencies, directors, SESs, politicals, the people that are higher level in there. This is a very simple matrix that you look at. It's modified from Miller Hyman's strategic selling. It's essentially that, hey, these folks favor you, and you're okay if they met you. You didn't spit on them when you talked and all that kind of stuff. So you're okay in their book. 2, they kind of like you, right? 3, they really do like you a lot, and they really like what you're offering. 4, being a coach. I like you so much, Rafael, I'm going to help you get in with Department of Energy. I'm going to help you get in with my team. Now, 5 is a champion. That means I'm taking Rafael's flag and running it up the hill. These are rare, obviously, no matter who you're pitching in whatever environment you are. Champions are rare, and you don't have to have a champion to win. You just need to be in the green, and not everybody has to be in the green. You just have to have enough in the green so that you can win. Notice one thing: there is no middle. There's no, oh, well, I don't know you, so it's just, you're just, I don't know. No, if you don't know them, what do you know? They know they're not buying from you. They don't know you, so they're not going to buy from you. It's as simple as that. And if you look at how this works in the inverse, guess what? If you have never played in this space, they're already favoring the competition because that's who they know and that's who they're buying from. Our job is to get that flipped up and turned into the green. As I mentioned last month, we did moving the contracting officers into the green. You can get that on YouTube. Zachary, if you want to pop that in again for the YouTube for GovBrief's channel, you guys can access that as well. Today, we're going to be talking about moving the program managers into the green. And as I mentioned before, they have different reasons for making decisions. They don't buy like contracting officers buy, do they, Rafael Marrero?
Absolutely not.
No, because
absolutely not. They are chartered with implementing the programs that the government procures, right? Separation of church and state here.
Separation. There's 2 different sides. You just mentioned separation of church and state. You have the program managers, and we'll talk about them in a minute, but the buyers, they're responsible for doing the purchases. They're the ones that care about contracting mechanisms. They're the ones that care about your socioeconomic certs, and they're the ones that have to meet certain criteria for small businesses, right, Rafael?
Absolutely. They have federally mandated thresholds every year, and they get report cards on there, which was just released, by the way.
That's right. And guess who doesn't care about those report cards on contract? Program managers. They don't know. They don't care. They do want to be able to reach you and get to you, but they're going to, once they have a requirement, right? Their job is to get that job done. They have a requirement. They throw it over the fence to the contracting officer. That contracting officer is responsible for developing the contract. These people, on the other hand, they want to get the job done. They get initiatives, sometimes driven right down from the president of the United States, that they don't understand why. It doesn't matter which president it is. I don't really care. Blue, red, left, right, Democrat, doesn't matter. What happens in here gets driven down through the agencies, because every one of these agencies, you're not going to believe this either, Rafael Marrero, but every one of these agencies reports to the president of the United States. Did you know that?
Absolutely. Yeah. They're called executive agencies.
It's an executive agency. That's exactly right. So their job is to support their mission. So if you have something, you need to tie that in with their mission, and their job is to help develop the requirements, determine the vendor qualifications, including the professional certifications, not your socioeconomic certifications, your professional certifications like ISO and the project management, PMMI, all those things are the ones that they're looking for. What is your management process? What are your capabilities? What is your past performance, and being able to show that you can deliver on what we need done? That is what they're looking for, which means, first of all, show them that you belong. That's why your capability statement doesn't have to just talk to your contracting officer. It has to talk to the program manager, right, Rafael?
Absolutely. You have to address, these are key procurement decision makers, and they impact the process, the acquisition strategy in different spheres. So you need to address the hot points for each and every one of these players in the federal government.
Yep. So you need a number one. Now, does anybody hire because they have a really good capability statement? I know you're really good at what you do, Rafa.
No, they don't. But the capability statement is like a resume.
That's
so it
right.
gets you the interview. It gets
That's
you the
right.
interview, right?
That's right. You got to look good so you get the interview, right? So then you need to show that you can help them get the job done. And you also need to help them look good while you're doing it. And you can actually do that beforehand. We'll talk a little bit about that maybe today. If not, we're developing a process to do exactly what we're talking about here today. There's no way you're going to learn everything you need to know today if you're new to the federal government, that all of a sudden you're going to leave and you have a silver bullet to be able to do pursuit. You will not get that here, but you'll get the foundational pieces. So let me ask you this. What is one relationship worth, if I can find it? Oh, man, why does this happen? I can't stand this. Hang on one second, guys. I do know how to fix it. Pay no attention to man behind the curtain. What is one federal? It is activated. What is? Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. I just can't read. Yeesh. All right. So we got that. What's one federal relationship worth? Is it less than $10,000? What's a good thing about less than $10,000, Gregg, Clarke?
They don't have to compete it.
That's right. And they can put it on a credit card. Look at that. Gregg's paying attention.
And I'm reading the question too. Janice wants to know, how are you talking to these PMs with the FAR driving how the government conducts itself?
Exactly. Oh, there's a great setup. Please remember her name, and we're gonna. That's the best setup I've had all day. Even better than anybody on my team.
Give me the cue. Let me know when you want me to deliver it.
That's right. I'll give you the cue. All right. So yeah, let us know about that. And while we're talking about that, let me get rid of this other thing here because I can't freaking see. All right, cancel, leave. All right, we're going to be talking about finding those program managers. And last month, we did actually we went through this a little bit more than we normally do, right? And I'm going through the same thing for those of you who weren't here. I'm going through the same thing to reiterate why I started. Because when I got into this world back in 2007, by 2009, I had 3 clients. So one is the wing nut, right? They're the ones that said, hey, they're $12,000 a month. That's a wing nut, right? I'm like, there's no way anybody else is going to spend that kind of money. Well, I had 3 clients by then, and they were all asking the same thing. How do I get into the federal space? And what I learned was, I'm going to end this poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and all right, we're putting some people to sleep because we only got 70 to respond to that. because I wanted to win, just like you wanted to win. But here's one of the things that I learned. Back then it was FBO, right? Everybody?
Yep.
So the government now has given us sam.gov. And we can all decide how we feel about that in a little bit and join our respective therapy sessions for PTSD, right? So that's where you find opportunities. So this is what drove us to develop sam.bid, because we wanted to know about opportunities, custom monitored. Because why? Because sam.gov doesn't do this right. Believe it or not, go in, look up flashlights, and see what you come up with, and you will find an active solicitation that is over a decade old. sam.gov does not deliver what it's supposed to. So we built a custom monitor to do what it should do. We do it with NAICS. So the NAICS PSCs and keywords is what you talked about, Rafael, right? And that way we know first, so we can review faster and we can propose better. And that gets us to the place where we're winning. And the price tag for that is $89 a month. That's just to keep you from having to log into sam.gov and have to do the dual factor authentication. Everything happens via email. I'll show you in a few minutes how that works. Here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. That's only 2% of all the contracts that are awarded. I learned this early on, which is why it became very, very, very clear that I needed a way, because looking at this is the reactive side, right? It hits on sam.gov, you're being reactive. You're reacting to an RFP. That is, unless you know about it ahead of time, right, Gregg, Clarke, which is what you want to do.
That's what you want to do.
That's what you want to do. But sometimes you can't. We'll talk about that, and I'll give you the ball in just a minute. So we need a way to get proactive. How do we get proactive? First of all, we have to look that 1 out of every 5 is, so 5 competitors, 76% of the time. That's the foundation of what happens on the other side of the fence. That means it's not going out for everybody and their mother to see. And you want to be one of the 5. And that's built on trust, which is built on meaningful conversations, right? If we have meaningful conversations, we can build trust. And that is built on exposure, engaging people, exhibiting that we have the qualifications and that we are experts in what we do, right, Rafael? That's how we build and get that information and build trust. Did I miss anything there, Rafael?
No, you've got it.
I got it. So that's why we developed this system. And I'm talking about our own internal systems, and you may want to buy these. It's not the only thing that you're going to want to do, but you may want to buy these because this will give you access to the other 98%. And normally this is new, so it's $4.99 a month, and it's $249 a month right now. You sign up and you get that for the lifetime, for as long as you're with us. And there's additional components that we're building on this, because this is not just a tool for you to just all of a sudden bippity boppity boo, you're going to win. It's a mindset process that changes you the way that it changed me back in 2009. I have got to figure out a way to reach buyers so that I can be positioned for this before the next one happens. And if I can't, if it's not part of the 2%, it's got to be part of the 98%. And we need a way to be able to do that. And that gives us 100% coverage on being able to reach people. And I'm going to be talking about this a lot of how we manage to do this. I'm going to show you one of the tools. I'm going to show you an actual email that came in today, and I'll show you how it works. First things first, if you want to do this, go to sam.bid. That's www.sam.bid. There's sam.gov and sam.bid, right? You choose your plan, the one we're talking about. You got to scroll down. You'll see the one that's half price. You want to pick the one that monitors awards. It's an advanced monitoring platform, and you monitor those awards. And what that's going to do, and I'm going to show you one in just a minute, it's going to give you 5 to 15 leads every week so that you can be proactive. This is not a reactive tool. It's a proactive tool. And I'll show you the buyer information, the awardee information, and the history report that goes along with that. And you'll be able to see in context the buyer and how the buyer thinks. So the other thing we're going to be talking about because this is a recent award. Let's take a look at this real quick. Let me see if I can do this without causing a warp in the time-space continuum. So you guys are looking at my emails. Is that right? Can you see my email?
Yep.
So this is an award to Dynamic Systems for $204,000 to APHIS, right? It's part of USDA. And I am monitoring Oracle. It's very specific. Either you have Oracle or you don't. So I'm monitoring Oracle. And here we have the ability to see what it was, the requirements. Oracle is stated, blah, 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 blah. One thing we know, if you sell Oracle, this guy's buying Oracle and these people are selling it. So these people are competitors of yours, right? Does everybody get that as a concept? The first thing we want to do potentially is reach out to the buyer. Well, you click this and then you can reach out to the buyer. Oh, by the way, this award was made last week. So Thomas is going to remember that they awarded that to Dynamic Systems last week. We all need a frame of reference in order to be able to make decisions. So if I want to reach a buyer, talk about what the buyer's world is about. Because what we want to do there is then we can also go into, and I'm gonna quickly go to here because this is actually brand new outside.
While you're looking, Rafael, there's a question for you in the Q&A.
Okay.
What you got? So while I'm looking for that, what's the question?
He wants to know the title of Rafael's book.
What's your
What, I'm
title?
sorry? Oh, the
Somebody in
title.
Q&A is asking the title of your book.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put it in there.
All right, cool. So now, can everybody see this? This is
Yep.
actually the back end. I'm logged in. So this is the award we were just talking about, right? We can see all the details of the award. Well, there I am not a robot, believe it or not. So look at this. 2 offers received. Gotta love that. 1 of 2, right? You can see all the details, and then you can see that this is the person that created it. And you can go to the 12-month history and say, this is also who this person is buying from. This completes the loop for your research to talk to Thomas and be intelligent about what he wants to talk about. It's all right here. And you also can see that it's not all IT oriented. Pesticides, janitorial services, analytical laboratory instruments, all, you know why that is, Rafael? Why is that? Because that person's not responsible for Oracle, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Contracting person, not the project manager.
That's right. That's the contracting person, not the contracting, not the project manager. Exactly right. But let me ask you a question, Gregg, Clarke, since you brought that up. Who knows the project manager?
The contracting officer.
The contracting officer. So what we want to do is we want to get a referral to get there, right? And, oh, by the way, we're going to reference that award. So we're connecting with the contracting officer with the intersection of what they're doing. And we're saying, hey, we noticed that you did that to Dynamic Systems. We do work in Oracle. I don't want to compete with Dynamic. They're doing a great job. I need to reach that program manager. And that is how you use sam.bid to reach program managers. Now, a lot of people are probably going to ask the question, are they really going to tell me who the project manager is? Are they really going to do that? Will they really do that? They're not going to do that. You believe that? They won't, and they won't do it. That's the first thing I'm going to tell you. The second thing I'm going to tell you is, guess what? You already have no. You already have no. There's no reason not to ask the contracting officer. Ask them. What can they tell you? They can say no. You already got that. Do it. Ask them. And guess what? If it's 1 out of 10, if it's 1 out of 4, if it's 1 out of 5, whatever that is, it's better than what you got right now. You have no way to connect to the program manager. There is no thread that ties anything to a program manager, which is the biggest problem that we have as business development, is finding and reaching program management. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. And then the question was, what's the question, Gregg? Who was it?
Janice Keywell, how are you talking to these PMs with the FAR driving how the government conducts itself?
That's right. What do the regulations of FAR say about talking to program managers, Gregg Clarke?
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what it is then. You can talk to the program managers anytime you want. What you can't do, with the exception, is if there's an active solicitation on the street and you want to talk about that solicitation. Other than that, you can talk to them about anything you want. There's your answer. So the way you do this again, go to sam.bid, click get started, choose the one that's the half price, pick that one and sign up. So now we're going to talk about how PMs review proposals. And I happen to know somebody who knows a little bit about proposals, Gregg Clarke from DKA, because that's what you do, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So the program manager, if you're responding, what part of that solicitation that you're responding to is the program manager looking at?
The statement of work is what they put together.
And whether or not you match the statement of work, right?
So yeah, so the contracting person is in charge of buying everything. That office is in charge of buying everything. They may not ever see it or touch it or use it, and they may not know anything about it, but they know how to buy it. So they need somebody to write the statement of work for that solicitation, and then they create the submittal requirements and evaluation criteria. And so our client kind of mirrors the project manager because they understand the statement of work, and the project manager wrote it, and we kind of mirror the contracting people because they have the rule book to follow. Regardless of what they're buying, they may not know anything about anything that they're buying, but they have rule book to follow, and that's the FAR.
Which is the FAR, right? That's what we're just talking about, right?
Right.
Love it. Fantastic. And we will get to some questions in a minute. So your job is to do the response, and that response can be and we talked about this a lot lately. That response can be something that's posted on sam.gov, right?
Sure.
Or GSA eBuy for that matter, right?
Sure.
Or it could be a response to an active solicitation. What's the big one that you were looking at? Polaris, right?
Right.
So you're doing
GWAC.
Yeah, that's an IDIQ. Tell us a little bit about that, because there may be some folks here that want to respond to that.
It's a big IT GWAC, which is GWAC, government-wide acquisition contract, meaning that yes, GSA is the agency that's posting it. However, every federal and military agency, civilian and military agency in the federal government will be able to buy from it.
Gotcha. That is fantastic.
So yeah, you need to have a lot of experience and capabilities in the fields. So if you are interested, I can there's my email address, and the email, tell me you're interested, and I'll send you the overview that I have of it. You can decide if that's something that's good for you. It's also a self-scoring worksheet.
I'll give you one better, Gregg. Please help me. You want to get a GSA schedule or current proposal? If you're interested in that, click current proposal, because that is out on the street, right? You can pick as many as you want, by the way. But if you're interested in this, he can help you position for Polaris. There's a lot of folks on the Monday roundtables yesterday were asking about, hey, we want partners. Hey, we're going to prime. Hey, a lot of that happened yesterday, right, yeah. Rafa? I mean, Gregg?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that happened. So Gregg will be able to help you do that. I'm going to leave that open for just a minute, because then we're going to talk about how to reach program managers in a different way. And so going back to my story, and when we got started, I realized, first of all, I didn't know anything, right? I didn't know anything. I still don't know a whole lot. I learn every day that I don't know that much. But what I did learn is, hey, if I act like I know I belong, right, Rafael? If I act like I belong, and I listen to what people need, and I connect with what they need, good things happen, right? Right, Rafa?
That's right.
If we look like we belong, if we're listening to what they need, and we respond to how they make their decisions, good things happen. I don't have to know very much more than that, because I am selling to an individual. If I'm proactive, if I'm reactive, I'm using a process to win in a reactive mode. which is why Gregg is great at what he does, and I'm terrible at what Gregg does. Terrible. If you hire me for paperwork, you will fire me before I ever submit anything, because I'm terrible at that. All right, I'm going to close this for Gregg in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, 37 people want to talk to you, Gregg.
You got it.
There you go. You're going to be a busy man. All
There's
right.
a question for you on the Q&A whenever you want to get over there.
All right. What happens after we sign up on sam.bid? Do we get a contact person with ISI or like an overall person to guide us on how to proceed? Glenn, thank you for that setup, because that's exactly a big problem, isn't it? And so up until this point, we have been doing all those pieces as part of services to our clients. So what we're doing is we're parlaying. I'll promise you this: you sign up for that, and you will be part of the process at no additional charge, where we're going to be moving people through that process, because we're going to be building the framework. We have some of the framework already in place because we've been doing it for years. However, we know that there's like the things you just need some general advice, and boom, you can rock and roll. But then it gets specific. What did that person say? How did they say it? Why did they say what they said? And they keep saying the same thing. How do we start to battle those? Those are individual conversations. That's where the coaching piece has to start, which is what we're going to be building over the course of the next year in conjunction with sam.bid, with the AMP system, so that you get what you need to go from point A to point B. So I appreciate that. And I answered that live. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the other system that we created, because one thing that I learned, shocking as this is if you are set up as a subject matter expert, people listen to you, right? No different than what's happening right here. Gregg is good at what he does. He's a subject matter expert. Rafael, good at what he does. That is what we do in our minds and decisions, and say, I want to talk to Gregg because he's an expert. And that's exactly what we want to do for you. So this is how GovBrief works. We push GovBrief out for a lot of folks probably know about GovBrief for what we do with industry. We push our information out to industry and we charge for it. Why? Because it's worth a freak ton of money if you can get an unsolicited proposal, if you know how to do business with a specific agency. It's crazy money. So we have the ability to help to do that. But in this instance, we're pushing what you do as experts out into the market. So first thing you have to do is pick a date. If you go on GovBrief right now, govbrief.us, go there right now, and you're going to see that there's an upcoming briefing tomorrow on a specific topic. You choose the topic. We work together to choose how we're going to put it out there, and we help develop the agenda. We push the agenda. We help to research the initiatives which are included in the agenda, so it connects with the decision makers, both the program managers, and we're going at the program managers mostly. But we also invite the buyers, because if they got something that's coming down the pipe, we want to know about it. But we research the initiatives and we help you develop the presentation. And that way the presentation flows. There's energy. There's good energy. It goes back and forth. And we help you host the briefing as well. We push it. We help you host it. And then we do the follow-up with a video that looks like this. It's not CNN or Fox or whatever your preference is, or ESPN. It looks better than just a Zoom meeting like this, though. And then it's repackageable so you can push that back out there with a call to action, which is meet with you. The objective is meeting with you after. No different than what we just did with Gregg. We did a poll and said, who cares and who needs help? Now, Gregg can reach out to you and make that connection because you need help in developing proposals. That's what you need. And he wants to help you do that. Shocking. You have a service, they have a need. This is where the connection comes and you build the relationship. So the first thing we do is we find the decision makers and we push that out. We look at our database. I said before, we have 1.2 million federal contacts. We're going to push it out to them and shake the tree. And this puts you out in front of them. Here's an example: 6,100 invites, 1,700 clicks. Not bad. 189 responses, 67 attended, and got 27 meetings. Nothing wrong with that. If you get 27 meetings with program people, that is where you want to go. You don't need hundreds of meetings with program managers. This helps with the brand building because we're pushing it out, saying, hey, we exist. That's part of the process. This isn't one and done. You do this repeatedly, and that's when you win. And so here's what happens. You get out there, you make your pitch, you become an expert, you're educating the customer. You're not selling them, you're educating them. Your best practice is to go after people and you connect to the decision makers so that you have those. You are the SME, and I'm going to show you an email that came back from it. Hey, Dave, got a call from DOL right after the briefing because they attended. And they also spoke, this was a buyer that connected them to the PM and the COTAR. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the other person on the list that you want to reach. Project manager, COTAR, now you've reached them all. And guess what you know? You know before the next one comes out, it's not out on the street yet. And guess what else? Now you're minimizing the competition because you're the subject matter expert. This is absolutely a success, and it's a repeatable success. And that's what we do with GovBrief all the time because we push that out to reach them. So now I'm going to ask you a question about that. How do you want to reach program managers? Do you want to do it with the sam.bid system and do it one at a time? Do you want to do it with GovBrief, or you can do it with both? Or if you're not sure, pick a time and we'll talk with you about that. We're going to get cooking and wrapped up in just a minute, I promise. But the most important thing here is that over the course of time, if you've been around this long enough, you come up, you figure out that there's a need and there's tools that you build to meet that need. Never a silver bullet, but it is part of the process. And what we wanted to do, and who was it that asked that question earlier with the Q&A?
Janice Keywell.
No, it was
About
Glenn.
How to find the PMs?
Glenn, I got it. Yeah. Glenn asked a question about what do you do after? And it's exactly, so sometimes you can't afford all that because GovBrief is not that's not $249 a month, folks. That's not. But if you're doing those things and you do them right, and some of those things you can do on your own too, and we'll help coach you in that. And that goes to what Glenn was asking for. Sign up, we'll help work you through the process, retooling for proactive as opposed to reactive. And you still got to do the reactive, right, Gregg? You still got to propose.
You have to.
You have to. All right. So we got a couple questions here and then we'll get out. If an award was protested, can we see who protested? You should be able to see that. Leslie should be able to know that. You can certainly ask who protested. How are you talking to these PMs at the FAR? We answered that one, right? Did that with Janice. Got the other one. Oh, you can use the sam.bid AMP system to find out who was awarded and do a protest. That may be one of the questions. What's this other one? Susan. Whew.
Yeah, I told her to set up a time to talk to you about this.
Oh, good.
And I gave her my number also.
Navy needs. Now what do we do? Susan, we're going to be doing business with the Navy, and I'll also help you. But is that the same Susan? Yeah.
Yeah.
When we talk, make sure we talk about how to do stuff with the Navy as well. How do we compete with Deltek? Deltek is awesome with things that are being recompeted and larger, over $500,000, usually in the millions. We don't compete with Deltek at all. Our process is different. You can use the same fundamental process with Deltek if you can identify the people. You can anywhere you can get contacts. The stuff with Deltek, everybody sees. The stuff that we're looking at, nobody's looking at. So I appreciate that question because Deltek's a great tool, right? For being able to do that. What does COTAR stand for? Contracting Officer Technical Representative. And you're welcome, Glenn. I'll answer that one live too. All right. So any other questions? Did I miss any in the chats? Does anybody put something in chat for us? Will you be able to get a copy of the info in the chat window? Yes, you will, Kwame. So if you do want everybody to know who you are, put your stuff in the chat window and we'll make sure you do that. And then we'll get to this. So you got $1.5 trillion in the 2022 budget. And guess what? We're already almost through Q2. We're halfway through Q2, right? Almost, right? No, we're almost all the way through Q2. So we're going to be coming up on Q3 next month. And if you want to win, you got to get in. You got to start. You got to start doing what you got to do. Oh, let me close this poll. Did I close that poll? I'm going to end the poll. All right. There's 36 people that are going to get followed up from my team today. I can tell you that. And then finally, after you win, we already talked about this a little bit, Peter, if you're still alive.
I'm here.
Once you guys fund the contract, help fund the contracts, remind people what you do so they can reach out to you as well.
Well, I think it's important to reach out to us because we can do a financial check, because the biggest thing that people do is that I can't bid on this contract because I don't have access to capital. In any industry, you need access to capital. We will give you access to capital, whether you're brand new or a seasoned company, because we lend to the opportunity. So please reach out to us and we can do a financial checkup for your company. And the most important thing is we can provide financial support letters should the government ask for one if you're bidding on a contract.
That's important. And that's one of the things that you do that a lot of people don't even do, or they charge for it, right? How much do they charge? How much do you charge for that?
We charge absolutely zero from
Nothing. It's my favorite.
Last month, Tuesday's meeting, I've issued 10 support letters for zero cost to those companies.
There you go. So if you need that, that's where we're going to go right now. And I know we're running a little bit behind, but we'll make sure we get that too. Peter, please help me. I need a pre-bid financial checkup. You have a finance for a recent award. You need financing for payroll, or let's schedule a quick discovery meeting. How about that? Yeah. And I hope you guys enjoyed today. Today was a little bit different because I was doing most of the leads on the processes because of what we built here. But we built what we built because of the need, right? Because you need to reach out you need to identify decision makers first. You can't reach them if you can't identify them. Secondarily, you need a path to get to them. And then you need the way to be able to connect to them so that they'll respond appropriately to you. Because if you don't have the right path, it's not going to work. So, and let me tell you one more thing about the path. The Office of Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization has a good heart. Would everybody agree that they have a good heart, Greg?
Absolutely.
Rafael?
Yeah, but they're not decision makers.
They're not decision makers. They're not decision makers. And if there's anything that, in sales training and everything else, whoever it is that you do sales training, you need to be pitching decision makers with budget. You must be. Now they can help you do the connections, help them help you, the Jerry Maguire rule, right? You can help them help you. So Peter, you got 14 people so far. I'm going to talk about the next session where we're talking about getting procurement ready with Rafael Marrero, because we're going to be that helps you reach those folks too. 1 second. Let me end this poll in 3, 2. You got 2 seconds if you want anything from Peter. 1, 0. All right. 16 folks, Peter.
Okay.
All right. I got one more question. If you need any other professional, God knows we all need professional help.
Especially you, Dave.
Especially. Thank you very much. All right. So I'll make sure if you answer this one, I'm going to talk about just getting everybody out of here. But if you need any additional pieces out of that we missed, let us know. Greg, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
For proposal writing, you're the man. So you can reach out to Greg there. And then that's old. And then we got Rafael Marrero. Thank you, doctor. Hold on, man. I got to match you. And there are you muted, man? I can't even hear you. You didn't say anything.
I'm not muted.
Oh, there you go. There he is, doctor.
Muted.
Want to make sure you got seen. And I want to introduce Jonathan on your team. Jonathan Serrano.
Hey guys, good to be here with you guys today. It was a great talk, great conversation. Looking forward to helping everyone.
Awesome. And Sally wasn't with us, but Peter did a great job because Sally is an Uber connector and helps with folks and connecting, especially high level on LinkedIn, as you said, right, Peter?
Absolutely. She's the best.
That's right. And if you want Peter Timbas, we already talked to him twice, but there's his information. If you want Brian Hebel, he's a former contracting officer from CMS. You get to him at acquisitionhelp.com. And next month it's you and me, Rafael.
Right.
That's right. We're going to be talking about getting procurement ready and also contract ready, right?
Absolutely. Everything
That's
you
right.
need to be ready to engage the largest buyer in the world, right? Getting your ducks in a row.
That's right. And if you want to do business with a VA or FEMA and FEMA, a lot of folks want to do both. You can go to GovBrief and Zachary, if you could put in that coupon code. And again, get to sam.bid and we get that one for 7 days for free, 30 days for free. If you have a GSA contract only, you can find ISI Federal on YouTube and LinkedIn. If you type in ISI Federal, you will not miss me anywhere. And there's my contact information if you need to reach me. We'll leave the poll open for just a minute. And if we have any straggling Q's and A's, all right. We got Sandra says TFN is great. Obviously, brought a ringer, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be able to get the info in the chat window. Yes. Tell you what you want to do with the chat window. Everybody that's still here, go to the chat window, open it up, and you'll see a smiley face. Next to the smiley face is a little thing, little 3 dots that say save. And you open that up and it says save the chat. We will also send this out to everybody afterwards as part of the recap. So you will get those as well. And then other than that, what else we got? Anybody asking any last minute questions other than those? Are we good to go?
I think we're good.
Oh, that's not, Kwame said that's not an option. Really? Is it
Well,
really
they're gonna send everything to them in the
I'm sending it to you anyway. Kwame, don't you worry. All right. Apparently that's not an option for this one. All right. You're welcome, Laurie. Appreciate you guys joining us. Hey guys, thanks so much. Appreciate it. And I got to go grab lunch with a future client, apparently. So great to see everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Bye.